Hey, good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to the FiTT Show, financial information for a day and tomorrow. Glad you could join us on board. This is a show that comes on every Thursday from 8 o'clock to approximately 9 o'clock. My name is Robert P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
Yes, I went formal on you today, though.
Yeah, you get very formal. Pernell.
Oh, thank you, the kid. And we're glad you're joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming around the country and around the world, helping you get your finances in shape. It's called financial fitness, is what we are all about, hoping that we give you information that you can use. And just want to make sure that you know that we are not fiduciaries, we're not qualified financial advisors. We are financial educators, must give that disclosure because we're not trying to give personal advice because everybody's financial portfolio is unique to them. So make sure you understand that. And also want to let you know that you should click on the like button as many times as you can and the heart button that helps us reach more people. Please, we make this interactive, and how this show becomes interactive is by you putting comments. So if you have any questions or comments or some suggestions on topics for us to cover in future shows, please put that in the comment box. Now that I got the housekeeping things, administrative things done, Dode, how are you doing today?
I'm happy to be alive, man. It's a wonderful day. It's just hot as heck. It's hot as heck down here, man.
Look, Dode, it's so hot down this mug. I saw the devil selling lemonade. I ain't lying. It's hot in the mug. I saw Superman in the Uber. He ain't even flying around. So, Dode,
Yes, sir.
last week we did 9 ways to protect your money. This week, we're going to talk about protecting your cash payment accounts. And that's all those PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, all those kind of things, Apple Pay.
Everybody's using them.
Everybody's using them, but there's things you need to know, y'all. You definitely need to know how to protect your cash because that is what, though, cash that's in these accounts. This ain't no daggone credit card. This is your actual cash. So you need to understand on protecting it. So with that, last week though, some of the things that you would sort of worry about, and I was worried about, happened, and it's happening again this week. Let's talk about the stock market, though.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of starting to feel like Chicken Little. The sky's falling, the sky's
I
falling.
know.
Things just aren't. Things just don't feel right. And we've been talking about it for a while.
Yep.
And it's reflected in this week's the update. And if you look, the S&P is only down 2.5%. The Nasdaq took a big hit. It's down 3.8%.
That's big.
And the tech stocks took a killing. Microsoft's down 38 points. Apple dropped 15. Nvidia 14. Google 12. Pfizer stayed flat, and Boston Scientific went down too. Now this, it's not really surprising. There's a couple of reasons for it. I'm sure you've read about how inflation's ticked up. It's sitting at 4.2%. The Fed wants it at 2%. And the tech stocks get hit really hard when inflation is rearing its ugly head because a lot of their value is predicated on the fact of what they're going to do in the future. So if inflation's clouding that, when it hits, there's going to be a collateral damage on the tech stocks. And right now, between the war in the Middle East, or I don't know if it's been declared a war, but what's going on in the Middle East.
That's what it is.
Yeah, inflation. And there's talk now that the Fed may actually raise interest rates. And we've been talking about lower interest rates. To slow inflation down, the Fed may indeed raise interest rates. Just concerned that may happen. And so, plus the fact, all of these tech stocks have had a tremendous run up. So you got the geopolitical situation, you got inflation, and you have the fact that some people just taking profits, because they've made a whole bunch of money on these stocks. I mean, I got on Microsoft, some of my cost basis is at 120. And so, Apple, I got in Apple real low. NVIDIA, my cost basis is 17. Google, my cost basis is around 110. Pfizer, that's when I got in the second time. The first time, I think I got in at like 36 and it dropped to 30. This time I got back in, I think at 25, so I'm up a little bit there. Boston Scientific is one I've taken a killing on. I got into this one at like 70, maybe a little over 70, and it's taken a big hit, but I'm still believing that it's going to do okay. And I thought I would bounce out at 50, but then I said, what the heck? So I'm going to hang in there for a little while longer and see how it does. And if it stays down, I'll probably sell some of that and also take some gains on something else to offset that loss. But all in all, the market did come back somewhat today because our president is saying settlement or a treaty or a ceasefire or a solution to this war is imminent. But I think we've heard that several times before.
Oh, you talking about a ceasefire and they just bombed some.
I know, but yeah. we ain't gonna get into it.
Just me.
But anyway, so we're gonna see what happens. I'm still a little uncomfortable with where the market is. I'm not so uncomfortable that I'm selling anything, but I would say the amount that these stocks have gone down, this looks like a correction, as opposed to this market not being any good or the tech stocks being garbage, because they're all good companies, good stock. And there's still that concern that I've been telling you about for several months, that the amount of money being spent on AI is a daunting amount. I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars. And there's always that concern that is anything going to come of all that spending? So bunch of reasons for the stock to have fallen. Again, I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with any of these stocks, but it's just a factor of what's going on in the economy, what's going on overseas, what's going on in inflation, and we'll see how things continue to shake out.
Yeah, there's a lot going on though, but like we say, it's about the long play. Make sure you just review your goals for your investing and stick to them, y'all. And if you have to adjust it, do it. But for the most part, stick to your plan. We always talk about the market being volatile, so do understand that. Don't
Yes,
know
sir.
what's going on. Go ahead.
No, I said yes, sir. I was waiting for your update on crypto.
Yeah. Before I go to crypto, though, gold is up $124 an ounce. That's a big
It's been
jump.
down. That's coming back because it's gone down.
Yes. So I don't know what's going on. It's up to $4,238. Remember, somewhere in the first quarter, gold went over $5,000, an ounce, the highest ever. Right now, it's at the highest that it's ever been. But today it's up $124. And guess what? Silver is up $3.56. And that's a big jump for silver, believe it or not. Silver's at $67.50 an ounce. So, and $3 is a big jump for silver. So don't know what's going on in those markets. But that's the commodities market. We always talk about investments, but I always like to now talk about mutual funds. And the mutual fund that I'm tracking is from Fidelity, which is their blue chip growth fund, and and it's up with the market, being down and different, both in the Nasdaq specifically is both down in both, but mostly there. It's up $7.67. So, like we say, make sure you have a diversified portfolio, and that way you can weather the storm. With that, let's talk about cryptocurrency.
Before you go, let's mention, you think about what I just said about the stock market and all the uncertainty and inflation. Well, guess what's the opposite? What's the hedge against those things? Gold.
Gold, commodities.
So that's the reason why gold is going up.
Yeah, but though, what was crazy though, the other week and the week before that, when the market was going down, gold was going down too. And that's like, it was, like you said, it's usually an inverted effect. But all of a sudden,
Yeah,
like you said, it's so dope. Maybe the market is like what you say, maybe it is correcting itself.
I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that happens, ladies and gentlemen. You know, and Doe, can you just write just a quick definition when we say it's correcting itself?
It's just again, people are taking profits, and it's kind of an oversold market.
Right.
And people are saying, okay, we've kind of been on this train too long, and we took maybe taking it too far. And the people who got in low are saying, I'm taking my profits and getting out because I don't think it's going to go up much more. And so the market's correcting. But again, I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with those stocks.
Yeah, and that's why when you look at the financial sheets of these companies, and you look at what they call a PE ratio, the price to earnings ratio, that tells a lot. A lot of people don't understand that, but that's sometimes but not sometimes that shows you, the price to earnings, and sometimes they overpricing their stocks, and there's a correction that happens with that too.
We're not overpriced. The market reacts too favorably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, right. Right,
but they're not pricing it. It's what the market's doing.
But I'm saying price to earnings, right? Sometimes it can be like as high as like 15, 20 is probably a good place, they say, for PE ratios. But when it's real high like that, the stock is overvalued. I guess that's what I'm saying.
But that's not something the company's doing. That's what the market's doing.
Excuse me, right? I'm sorry, though. I'm sorry, I meant to say that's what the market is doing. But sometimes it could be inflated more than
but again, that's the market reacting to it as opposed to anything the company's doing.
My bad, and thank you very much, though. But that's one place that you could look at because a lot of people don't realize that indicator is very key sometimes.
Sure.
So with that, let's talk about our show today, though. This is pretty good.
Bitcoin. Are you done with Bitcoin?
Yeah, I just started and then never got into it. Well, that's not doing well either. Thank you. That's all I have to say. No. but believe it or not, though, it's not. Well, compared to last week, let's make sure we keep that right.
It's not showing.
Like the total market is only down 1%.
It's not showing, Bob. It's not on the screen.
Ooh, sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's get that up. Somehow that clicked out. Don't know why. So yeah, let's get back to that. So
working today.
Yeah, thank God. Y'all done got out a couple of times. So look, yeah, like the crypto market, it's overall it's down 1%. And it's been taking a hit the last 2 weeks. But and that sounds crazy, like 1%, but 1% of a trillion, 2.2 trillion is 21 billion. So that's not like that's not a lot, but for cryptocurrencies, that's not a lot. Look at the Bitcoin, though. This is the lowest it's ever been down within a week. Only $100. This is less than 1%. It's down just $100 at $63,325 per Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum, the smart contracts was supposed to be giving you a little bit more structure, or if I can say the word stability in cryptocurrency, compared to the other cryptocurrencies. It's down a lot, 12%. That's $89. It's down to $1,672 per Ethereum. Stable coins, which is Tether, USDT, and USDC, they at the third and fifth place. They've been holding, but people have been investing. So when you look at that, you look at the volume that's going into these, as opposed to how you can see the values of the coins. The past 3 weeks, they've been staying at 99 cents. Excuse me. Binance stayed in the fourth place. Usually that's going back and forth with Ripple. And Ripple is now in the sixth place. Binance is at $603, down 6%. So, and it's interesting. like I said, the past 3 weeks, the stable coins has just been at that. They've been holding that 99 cent. Ripple is holding. It's just down 2 cent, but it's at $1.14 per Ripple, and that's XRP. A lot of people I remember those in the early days they jumped into XRP. It was really rolling at one time. So that's it for the cryptocurrency market for the week, though. Let's talk about the protect your cash payment account topic for today.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, Bob. If you look around, everybody's using cash apps, right? And what's really crazy is people are putting a lot of money into, what is it, PayPal. You think about all of them, Venmo, Zelle, Google Pay, Apple Pay. And it's no surprise that people are using those because, I mean, last several years, it's gone crazy because it's easy to use. It's across all the smartphone platforms, whether you use Apple or you use Samsung's, Androids. It's convenient. It's fast. It's flexible. Across, you can send it from Apple to Android without any trouble. You can split bills. Then you had the pandemic and everybody trying to go cashless. So that kind of pushed the use of those cash payment apps. But you've had several banks and crypto exchange failures lately. And that highlights the risk of keeping money into those cash payment accounts. And so in some cases, you don't have any FDIC insurance in a lot of those accounts. And if something was to happen where there was a failure, your money could be at risk. And so if you think about all these apps people have and all this money they have in it, there's a very high possibility that if a bank failed or one of those cash apps failed, cash app payment, I keep saying cash app, but it's really cash payment apps. If any of those apps failed, you could lose a whole lot of money if you have money in those accounts. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, Dope. Got a couple of questions we want to start off today with, and our good brother Dean Elmore Alexander. Dean is on the day. Dean, which is running for Congress down there in Georgia. He got close, you all, but close only counts and hand grenades and slow dragging. But he put up a good. But he put up a good campaign, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Elmore Alexander. He said the president said he likes inflation today. Should we be concerned about this? Should we be concerned about an inflation or him saying that? Either one, but inflation.
He lies so much, so it's hard to be concerned about anything he said.
But let's talk about should we be concerned about the way inflation is. Dope. Inflation is about what, over 3% now.
4.2. The last report came out is 4.2. Yeah, so I mean, whether you're concerned about it or not, you notice it when you go to the grocery store and when you go to fill up your gas tank. It's hitting pretty hard. So unless this war comes to an end, hopefully that will relieve some of the pressure on gas prices. But you got issues.
But that's just gas.
Yeah, but you got issues with other parts of the economy that aren't gas. Between beef and some of the things that are farmed, you just have eggs. Yeah, you have a lot of things that are pushing inflation up. So whether he's worried about it or not, all of his constituents are dealing with it. And I think the first step has to be getting this war ended, the strait opened, and gas flowing again. That'll relieve some of the pressure, but I'm just not sure that that's going to be enough to straighten things out.
Now said milk. You're right. No question. That's up too. And Dope, and the reason why it's so important, you all, and I know we know inflation is important, but what you need to realize, it eats through the purchasing power of your money. Because if you have your money in a savings account, you probably would stay broke because if it's paying less than 1%, if inflation, say you invested in something giving you 10% and inflation at 4, that means your money you only really making 6. And if you're in a say a high tax bracket, say taking out 1/4, then what is less than that? Then you get what like 3%, even though your return is 10%, but the actuality of it is really less than that. That's why you got to keep an eye on inflation.
Yeah,
No,
it destroys your purchasing power. That's what it does.
yeah, yeah, and dope. It affects, like I said. I read this article was talking about 5 reasons why your savings account will keep you broke. Didn't say make you broke, will keep you broke. And it was talking about inflation. It was talking about a catastrophe that could happen. You could have $20,000, $30,000 in a traditional savings account that's paying less than 1%. It could wipe it out. You think you save because you got some cash there. And then it talked about your money working for you, cash flow. So those are things we need to consider. Hey, Modestine is saying Warren Buffett stated today that we should have 90% assets to low cost 500 index XNP and 10% in short term government bonds. What do you think about that statement?
Again, anytime you see a far reaching statement like that, that's for the average person, but there's no such thing as an average person. So as Bob mentioned earlier,
I can say that about you, though.
What?
You ain't an average person.
Well, but everybody's situation is different. And there probably are some people who should be 90-10, but for most people that won't work. You have to look at your own particular situation, where you are in life. If you're younger, you can be much more aggressive. As you age, you typically become less aggressive because you're going to be calling on that money or living off that money shortly. But Bob and I have talked about this before. At no point should you become totally not aggressive, because even when you turn 65, if you make it to 80, you got 15 more years to live, and you can't let inflation destroy your purchasing power. And we always talk about being invested in the market and not being overly conservative, because as Bob was just saying, overly conservative will get you broke pretty quick. Right. So it's hard to address a generic formula like 90-10. Like I said, I'm sure there's some people that will work for. Bob and I, we joke, he's probably you're closer to 50-50, Bob?
Nope.
What are you?
Believe it or not, 65-35. 65 conservative in government securities and 35 in the market. I mean, not in the market,
but I'm twice as aggressive as Bob is. I'm probably 70 in the market and 30
right.
More, let's call it more secure, safe securities, and that's just risk. How I am. That's how I've always been, and it's probably how I'll continue to be.
And that's how I was, though, until I retired and I flipped it. And it works for me because I take out of my retirement plan, I take about the 4% out, and that 35% is making enough to cover more than the 4% that I take out, believe it or not. But that's my strategy.
Yeah, but see, I'm not paying for. I already been through that torture of paying for kids' college, so I don't have anything to pay. So I don't take anything out. So I just let it grow. I just continue to invest. I stay somewhat aggressive and just watch it grow.
Hey, Dope, before we get into the payment accounts and protecting your money. Okay, we lost Dope, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not here.
Lost me too. Okay, I hope everybody's there. We're having technical difficulties.
I can hear you.
Oh, cool. Okay. Normally, I'm the one freezing up, but that time you froze up, though. So good. But you're back. So another question, though, before we get into the show topic. Garnett wants to say, how much should we keep in a savings account?
Again, it depends on what that savings account for. If that is your emergency fund, we always talk about a month, between 1 month and 6 months,
Right.
emergency funds. But again, if you got a steady paycheck and you don't have a lot of bills, your emergency fund can be a lot smaller. If you are retired, you don't have a lot of money coming in, then your emergency fund should be a little bigger. And it all just depends on what your emergency fund for. If you have a fairly new car under warranty, you aren't going to have any big car expenses. If you got a 7-year-old car and your transmission might go or your engine might go, then you probably need a little more in your emergency fund. But you should have enough to cover your basic expenses for at least 2 to 3 months. So whatever your basic monthly expenses are, if your monthly expenses are $3,000, I would say a generic number would be to have $9,000-10,000 sitting in an emergency fund. Now, should all that money be in a savings account? Me personally, now Bob would probably put $6,500 in a savings account and $3,500 in a mutual fund.
Correct.
I would put 70% in a mutual fund and have 30% in my checking account. It depends on what your risk tolerance is, how soon you might need that money. Because if you think you might need it quickly, you wouldn't put it in the stock market. You want to have it in something where it's going to be there if you need it. So again, if you have your basic needs covered, you don't have any big expenses you're expecting to get anytime soon, you can put it in something to make a little bit more money than a savings account. But again, it all depends on your particular situation.
No, we have a little technical difficulties again. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard, but Modestine was saying we're not on Facebook tonight. No, we are, because of Modestine. There's people that are commenting. Oh, you are. Okay, she just put it back. You are on Facebook now. I had to go out. Yeah. So everybody, if you get kicked out, come back in or come through YouTube. We don't know what's happening, but it's outside of our control, and that's how technologies are. And maybe the man has got an eye on us or something. Who knows? So, let's kick it off, man. What about protecting your payment accounts?
Well, we did. We talked about how everybody's using it, and what we're worried about is a bank or these crypto exchanges going under, and you have funds in there and you're losing them. We're going to talk about how to protect that money.
Yeah. So, and we're talking about PayPal, Venmo. We even talking about Zelle and all of those too, right?
Yeah. All the pay,
Cash
Google
App.
Pay, Apple Pay, all of them.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So let's talk about it, though. What you started to kick us off?
Okay. If you got funds in those, okay. If you have your money in a bank, your money is insured up to $250,000. So if a bank goes under and you have up to $250,000, you can have confidence that your money's safe. But you don't have those protections in these cash payment accounts. In a lot of situations, there is no FDIC insurance. And a lot of those FTX users got wiped out after that crypto exchange collapsed last year. Nobody got a penny because there was no FDIC insurance. And so billions of dollars are stored in those payment apps, and all of them may lack. We're going to explain the distinction to you. They may lack any federal insurance at all. And so they don't have the same coverage that you could get from a bank or a credit union. And hopefully we don't have any catastrophes, but if we do, we're going to tell you how to protect yourself.
Dope. The CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they report that break down the deposit insurance representations of each major payment app provider. Now I want to bring up a table, Dope, that shows the payment app landscape. Let's hope it works. We are great. We are tied to market. So, do you see my chart?
It's on the board.
Okay. The first one, we have the provider, the account type, and the deposit insurance eligibility,
Easy
right?
for you to say.
Say that 5 times. So PayPal, the PayPal account. Notice what I'm saying, PayPal account. That's non-insured
None.
deposit insurance.
None. It has no
None.
insurance.
None at all. And you're right, I'm talking about none. And that's account, that's payment account only, right? Then you
Yeah,
have,
only for payment accounts. Yeah.
yes, and then you have the PayPal balance account, which is, opening a PayPal when you get it like a debit card. Like Cash App now has a debit card too. And PayPal now has a debit card, and you enroll in a direct deposit or using the account to buy or receive crypto assets. And that's not
If you do
insured
that,
either.
you have insurance.
Right. Then we got Venmo. You have a Venmo account, and that's direct deposit or the cash, a check feature, or using the account to buy also cryptocurrency. Once again, that's not insured by it's not insured by the FDIC.
Well, if you have direct deposit or the cash or check feature, or you're using the account to build or receive crypto, then you do have insurance. Okay, because they're using banks. They're funneling the money through a bank that has FDIC insurance. Okay, but you have to be doing one of those. You just can't have money in the account. If you just have money in a Venmo account and you don't have direct deposit, or if you don't have the cash or check feature, or you aren't buying and selling crypto, then you have no FDIC insurance. Okay, for example, in Cash App, if you have you don't have insurance unless you have a Cash App prepaid card or the account sponsors, or it's a sponsored account, then you do have FDIC insurance. Same with Apple Pay. If the customer registers your account with the Great dot bank,
Green,
you have
you said
insurance.
great.
Huh?
You
Green,
said,
I'm sorry, green, yeah. Google Pay, there is none at all. And that's either for the payment account or for the balance account. So what we're telling you is if you have money in these accounts, in the first 5, you want to do the features that gives your money FDIC insurance. And you get the insurance because they are working with a bank that has FDIC insurance. If you aren't doing any of those items that are on the right, if you aren't doing those, you do not have any insurance. If that payment account goes under, then all your money is gone. Okay. And be aware, even if you do have FDIC insurance, it's only up to $250,000. So I don't know anybody who would have that much in there. At least I don't know anybody like that, but I'm sure there's somebody who does. And if you're talking the billions of dollars that are in those accounts, I'm sure there's someone who does. So you got to let's make sure we're clear on this. If you have a PayPal balance account and you want to have FDIC insurance, you got to make sure you either have a debit card or you have direct deposit or you're buying and selling crypto, in which case they're working through a bank that does have FDIC insurance.
and that direct deposit is kind of key though, because and I'm wondering, this is a question I'm asking. You know how you can have you have Cash App, and then to put the money in Cash App, you actually transfer it from your bank account.
That's not direct deposit.
And
Direct
that's what I
deposit
want
is
to
a
make
paycheck.
clear, that is not direct deposit.
No, that's a transfer.
That's a transfer. Thank you. And I just want to make that clear. That's not direct. Direct deposit where automatically is depositing money into the Cash App.
Like a paycheck or
Right.
Social Security check, pension check.
Right.
Not a transfer.
Yes. Just want to make that clear because The CFPB calculates though that more than 3/4 of U.S. Adults have used the Cash App. That's roughly 893 billion, almost $1 trillion, and that's just in 2022 across all payment apps. And they're projected to increase transaction volume to 1.6 trillion in 2027. So that means the risk of users, and funds being disrupted, um, disrupting the access or even insolvency will only grow in the future, though.
Yeah, things, banks go bad. You used to go around closing banks, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah, like, hey man, every month we were closing banks back in 87. That Fellow Savings Loan Insurance Corporation, though, in between 85 and 1989, we closed 747 savings and loans.
Yeah, and it could happen again because I personally think things are a lot worse than people are letting on. I mean, I think the administration keeps pointing at the stock market, but stock markets, people who got money to put in the stock market. There's a lot of people, and I'm sure everybody knows a whole bunch of people who don't have any money in the stock market, and those are the people that are really suffering. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that some banks could go under. Okay, so let's talk about what you should do. How can you protect your cash? And they offer several tips, and it's all kind of painful to do. But the first thing you got to do, you got to read the user agreement. Okay, and it's murky, and I don't know if that's by design, but that's going to explain the app's basic business model, their investment strategy, and their risk profile. So check if the app keeps your money in a bank or credit union or invest your money in loans and bonds. You need to know how your money is working. So you might be surprised to learn that your money, they're holding on to your money without passing any of it, without passing on any of it, as a bank normally does. Because banks get money in, loans money out. Cash app accounts may not do that. Okay, so you got to look at the details and whether or not your money is insured at a bank or credit union, or as what happens in the case of a payment app's collapse. You need to know what happens if that app collapses or if there's a bankruptcy. Read the user agreement. It's long, it's murky, and it's very technical, but you need to know what's going on with your money.
Hey, this agreement reminds me of the user agreement, the truth in lending disclosure statement that comes with credit cards, which is murky and nobody reads, right? But you got to look. The devil is in the detail, as they say. Look, there's you need to consider pass-through insurance, and it's offered by some apps. Certain apps offer this pass-through insurance, which protects you against the collapse of a bank or credit union if the company folds and it has your funds. If you follow the insurance criteria, this can offer an additional layer of protection for your apps and stuff. However, pass-through covers explicitly doesn't protect you against PayPal or another app failing, even if your money is stored safely in an external FDIC-backed bank. During a payment app collapse, you could still experience significant delays in even being able to accessing your funds. So make sure you consider that also.
Yeah. So and when Bob talks about that pass-through insurance, you get that by doing those items we mentioned on the right side of that chart: the direct deposit, or buying and selling crypto, or debit cards, or prepaid cards. That's how you get the insurance. You have to do those things to make sure you're insured. Now, what should you do personally? Make sure you move your money out regularly. You don't want to have a large amount of money in a cash account, in a cash app account, okay, cash payment account, okay? So once you get a X amount of money in there, make sure you move that to your bank account, so you don't have a lot of money just sitting in a Cash App account, okay? So check your balance at least once a month so you don't miss any outstanding funds that come into your account. Okay. So again, keep on top of it. Don't leave a lot of money in those accounts. Set up a date on your calendar to remind you to look and make sure you know how much you got in there. And if it reaches a certain amount, say, hey, I'm gonna move that to my regular bank account.
So though there's a couple of other stipulations that we want to inform people about that they tell us, and they say, and this is kind of interesting, never send money to strangers unless you're confident in the transaction. I'm not sending no money to nobody I don't know. But this is one of those catch-22s, and I get what they're saying, because there's sometimes that may happen. But with me, yeah, that's a tough one. But plain and simple, never send money to strangers.
Yeah, and what you're saying, Bob, is make sure you know who the contact is, somebody in your contact file that you're sending money to. Verify your payments directly in the app. Don't do it through no email or screenshot or something you get over the internet. Make sure your payment is good in the app, then you're pretty safe.
Why? Because anybody can create a screenshot or email, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Next one. Enable the two-factor authentication.
Authentication. There you go.
Authentication. Thank you, Dope. Easy for you to say. But that always works, you all, and you should use this for any online tools that you're using, because with the theft, identity theft, and the fraud and everything, but especially identity theft, two-factor authentication. Excuse me, I'll get it straight to the later. Authentication is very important, you all, because it just gives you that extra layer of protection. And just remember, you can't stop them, but you can prevent them, right? And so you got to do it. And this is a good one, because I use this a lot. Don't you use two-factor?
Yeah, but let me explain what it is. That's when you have to, you get a phone call or you get a text and you have to put a number in, or they send you an email with a number and you have to then enter that number. So you put your password in, and then the second factor has to be approved before you can get into your app. And so if somebody guesses your password, then they would get a text. They will not get that text to your phone because it has to go to your phone number. That's the second factor. That's the two-factor authentication. So there's two ways of making sure that it's you. That's what that is. And we've always warned you about avoiding clicking links in emails or texts. If you get an email and you don't know where it's from, just delete it. Don't look through it. Don't open it. Don't click any links. And the same with texts. If you get any text and you don't know who it's from, just delete it. It's not going to be from the IRS. It's not going to be from your bank. If you think it might be from your bank, call the bank with the number on the back of your credit or debit card. Do not believe what you get via text and email.
One of those unsolicited emails, sometimes you get these emails and they have the logo of a company that you know, or vendor that you're using, or name. Always click on that arrow button next to the from button, and it'll actually give you the true actual email link. And normally that is the giveaway, because it'll be a bunch of characters if somebody's spamming you, or if it's a private name, even though it's a company, you open up as a private account on it, and then the extension is some weird extension instead of .com or .org. That is the easiest way of dealing with emails. Use buyer protected payment apps when purchasing goods and services, basically credit cards, and that will actually protect you way more than using a cash app. Plus, you can get reward points, and you also can build your credit. So that's even more the reason. But I know a lot of people, cash apps are a lot more convenient. But I'm telling you, with the fraud and theft that is out these days, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, and what you're saying, Bob, is once you hit send, the money's gone.
Gone.
And you have no recourse if you're using a cash payment app. Okay. And again, I mentioned this before, limit the amount of money you have in these accounts. Be diligent about getting the money out of there, not having too much money in there at any one time.
And what was the note about FDIC though that we were going to talk about on that one?
I just want to remind people, like, FDIC insurance is up to $250,000. People think, okay, I can put $250,000 and be safe, and that's true. But if it's in an interest-bearing account, say you put $250,000 in and you make $10,000 in interest, well, you're only covered up to $250,000. So make sure that your account, if it's going to grow, the total doesn't exceed $250,000. Okay, so you don't want to have more than $250,000 into an account. The limit is you're only covered up to $250,000. So if it draws interest, make sure you don't put in $250,000 and then get interest on that, because that interest will not be covered if the bank fails.
And though when it was at 100,000, when we used to go to banks and close them, there were a lot of people when the interest rate was like 12%, on savings accounts back there, 12%, they were losing $1,000 because it would be $101,000. But they thought they lost the whole amount, but really you just lose the interest. Though, little correction on that, you only get, Modestine just put it in. It depends on how your account is structured. And I was getting ready to say, Modestine, you have more than 250,000, but it's per category of accounts. You get $250,000 for an individual account. You get another $250,000 for a joint account, right? You and your wife or whoever. That's $500,000. And if you have 2 kids, you can have 2 revocable trust accounts for $250,000.
Separate accounts,
Yeah, separate account.
Accounts, right?
But you're the owner of the account. Your kid is just the trust goes to them, right? And there's another one though that I'm leaving out. Oh, you get another $250,000 for a business account with your name on it. But, and this has happened, remember Richard Dimple Fields though, if it ain't one thing, well, I shouldn't be saying this. I got this we out here on the thing. But anyway, there was this entertainer in California, and he had 100,000 in an individual account, and he had 100,000 in his business account. But his business account was sole proprietor, so he was using his Social Security number. So the business has to be a tax ID number in your name, because if it isn't, if you're using the same Social Security number, they are aggregated, and you only will have just 250,000, not 250,000 per category account. That's just a little FDIC insurance education, everybody. Though, have alerts for your cash payments accounts, and any accounts that are linked. You can actually have alerts where they alert you for certain activities. Just like we talked about that on your credit cards too. Same thing with these cash apps. They actually have alerts that you can set up. Use them because there's a lot of just stuff going on out there, y'all. You want to protect yourself.
Yeah, let's talk a minute about payment account, those payment account legacy. Okay, what happens when you die? So if you pass away, money in payment, all those payment apps, Venmo, PayPal, Google Pay, Zelle, that money doesn't automatically transfer to your heirs. Okay, the process is usually similar to what happens with other financial assets, and it'll have to go through an estate or probate or whatever to get passed to your heir. And usually there's effort to make that happen. So if you die, like, those Cash App accounts are going to require you to have a death certificate, documentation showing that you are authorized to act for the estate, whether that's the executor or personal representative or whatever. And you're going to have to identify yourself as that authorized person.
If your money is linked to a bank account, then sometimes the easiest path is through the linked bank account. If the money has already been transferred from the app to the bank, it becomes a part of the bank account. So that's cool because it's insured by the FDIC. and if it's a POD, a payable upon death, and you pass, it automatically goes to the beneficiary who's on the account, and it bypasses probate. So that's a good thing. Now, if it's the other way, if you pass away and your money is in the payment account, make sure someone you trust has the cash account password so it can be transferred to the bank account. And preferably, if you have a POD, then it will bypass probate. But that's very important, you all. If you have it in the payment account, now you need to check this out in the user agreement. And I don't even know if they cover it, though. But the person having your password, that seems kind of dubious. But
it is. It's definitely dubious because nobody should be doing transactions on your behalf once you're dead. But that's what I'm going to do. Well, that's what I got somebody to do that if I pass away.
Right.
Go right into my account and move money.
And use your password. But
yeah, because
is somebody you trust.
Yeah, because I have crypto that's in the Cash App account, and there is no place to put a beneficiary in crypto. Cash App and any of those accounts that we're talking about. They don't have beneficiaries. So you got to get that money out of there. And one way to do it is to get the death certificate and some proof that you're authorized to access this money. Or the dubious, as you call it, way is to have someone know the password. And after you did, hey, move that money from here to there. And then, because the money in the bank account, usually that's set up as pay on death or the beneficiary. All they need to go in and show ID and they have access to the money. That's what I'm doing. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do because it's probably illegal, but I'm hoping it happens after I'm gone.
But it's a way to get it out of there because other than that, though, it's just going to sit in that Cash App or that payment.
Well, no, you got to get the death certificate and then go through the process. And
that may take some time, and it's not like the early one up there. It could be a lot more, take longer than you think.
Yeah. Okay. So you got to plan ahead. Like I mentioned it, if you got money in there, make sure you have a list of those assets so somebody after you die can find it. Okay, they know that you have a Cash App account. They know that you have a Zelle account. They know that you have a PayPal account. In case there's any money, they can access it. You don't want that money sitting in those accounts. And keep a secure record of the accounts you have. Let your executor or whoever your trusted person is know that the account exists, and just don't keep large balances in those accounts. Make sure it gets transferred to a bank where you have a beneficiary designated. Do that before so that after you're gone, they don't have to deal with it.
Yes. So with that, that brings us to our summary and takeaways for today's show, Dope. We hope this was helpful information. If you have any questions, or put them in the cap or comments, put them in the comment box. But Dope, let's go to the video. Summary and takeaways for today, sir. And I'll start with the first one, Dope. And that would be understand your agreement. What we just talked about, that user agreement. Understand the payment account, deposit insurance, if it has it or has not, or how to make sure you are protected with deposit insurance. And just know what's the rules on having that money in those apps, because you can get really tripped up with the fine print.
Don't get scammed. Know who you're sending your money to. Make sure you understand where the money's going. Don't click links that you don't know, and don't respond to emails or texts asking you to send money to certain places. Keep your information secure. Make sure you have a good password. Make sure you use two-factor authentication so nobody can go in and steal your money.
Minimize your cash amounts in these payment accounts. Meaning, dope, we do not keep so much. I don't keep any money in accounts, dope. Actually, I just, if I have to use it, I just to put the amount of money that I need to use and send it to the person. But if you do want to leave money, then minimize that amount, and that will save you a lot of aggro. Should something happen, should the company go bankrupt, or should fraud.
All right, you just froze up, Bob. I don't know if we're both frozen or just you froze. Bob, are you there?
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, you froze up. I don't know if I froze and you froze.
Both our screens though went off.
Okay, I could see you were froze. Okay, and the last takeaway is make sure somebody can access your accounts. Make sure they know what accounts you have, and make sure you set some method up that they can get at your money so it's not sitting there. Make sure, and again, just don't leave large balances in those accounts so you're not talking about a lot of money anyway. Are we frozen again? And that's never happened before.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. The internet is acting very crazy today. I hope y'all can see. Yeah, technical difficulties. Yeah, good night, everyone. Thanks for the useful information. Thanks for being on. Hello, everyone. There's definitely a storm rolling through and it's acting pretty crazy. Um, so, glad to see y'all. Thank you for being in. Roll call now. Thank you, Tracy Wiley, Garnett Nickens, Rodney Madison, Joanne Bodestein. Who else? Linda. Oh, the trifecta, my sisters. Linda, Gloria, Nolia. They all on today. Them giving me good luck. What's up, sis? There ain't nothing like blood. Look, remember, blood makes you relatives, but love makes you family. Yes, I love y'all. Dean, Dino, Dr. Elmore Alexander, thank you for being on, my good brother. And that is everybody on for tonight. And it would not be fully complete unless I leave with the thought for the week. If you can remember your dream when you wake up, it's a message, not a dream. Thank you, everyone, for being on. Love you all. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's out of our hands, but we're glad you were on, and hopefully we straighten this out next week. Remember, we're here the same next bat channel, bat place, the FiTT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Thank you all for hanging in there with us. Love you. Peace in the Middle East. And let's hear Greece.